This conference will now be recorded.
Very good evening to everyone present for the session. In the previous session, we had ended with the discussion of groups. Yes, how a user can create his own group, and before creating, which are all the user-defined groups. So this all uh, data I have shown you in the previous class. Yes. So how to view the predefined groups existing in Tally, and how can a user create a group depending upon his business requirement, right? So in today's class, we will learn a couple of new concepts. It can be regarding the security levels for a company and a few things which can give us a lot of learnings in this particular session. So as I go on, we can learn the same. Now, first of all of us have created the company. Yes. So we had gone for a company creation, then we had a company alteration, selection, deletion, and all. Now, the first time when we are creating a company. Now, let's do it all together. We have already a company which has been created and where the entries are being passed so far. Okay, that is one company which is already existing. So you can just log into your Tally company, Tally screen. Yes. So now our company is already existing. Let us close this particular company. Close in the sense I want to shut down the current company which we are using for the session, and we will create a new company as we need to use a very important feature in Tally at the time of company creation, and that is Tally Vault Password. So, which defines the security level of the company. So, if we create a password, set a password, then the data, what has been stored in the company, what entries you would have passed in your company will all remain safe, provided the password is not known to anybody other than you, or in case if you can rely on anyone, probably if they know the password, it's fine. Okay, so we can create a Tally Vault password for our company. Now we can create in both the ways. Already created company also, we have Tally Vault password creation, or at the time of company new company creation also we can create. So what we'll do is, as of now, we will not touch upon the company which has already been created by us. Okay. First, we will go for a new company creation. We're not going to pass the entries in that. It is just to use the Tally Vault password. Then we can come back to the same old company which we are currently using. Okay. So now if I have to shut the current key which is activated, which is the function key would I use? If any of you, one of you remembers how to shut down the company and what is the functional key? Of course, we have Alt K, the company tab, but I would like to ask you directly. Yes, how can we go for it? If we have to shut the company, yes,
Control F3.
it is Control F3. So it is also visible in the Alt K tab, Company tab, where you have Control F3 and Shut Company. Good. So if we press Control F3, we can close down the current company and the Select Company panel, the list will open. Now here we can go to Create Company option. Yes, so here the discussion of tally word password is not existing. So what you can observe is you have the company name, mailing name as usual, how you created the company at the in the initial classes. In case of tally word password is existing, that feature is existing, in the company creation it's well and fine. If not existing, like how my company is existing, the tally screen, what you can do is in the company creation screen, press F12. Press F12. If you press F12, you have a couple of features being activated here. Yes. Now the second feature says use tally wall password to encrypt company data. Yes. So here if we give it as yes, can you see here? In the company creation screen under security field, we have set tally vault password to encrypt the company data. Okay. Now you can type company name. Name is your choice. Address and all you'll be familiar by now. So you can just type a brief address and select the state and put control number, mobile number, email of the company, Right? We will come back to the security here. Here, security set tally vault password to encrypt the company data. So here if we give as yes, it will navigate you to the tally vault password. And before giving the tally vault password, please go through whatever has been given in the brackets. If you forget your tally vault password, you will permanently lose access to your company data. Got it? So if after creating the password, you're not able to remember the password and you try to log into your company, you cannot get your company details back. Okay? So it is not like a Gmail or Yahoo forgot the password. Okay, what's the first question? Security question entered. Like that. Once you forget the password, the tally wall password, what has been set for your company, even though trying to remember after a couple of times you fail to remember and you forget the tally wall password, you cannot retrieve your company details. So you have to be very, very careful when you're giving your tally wall password. And this tally wall password is case sensitive. So you have to be extremely careful whether you're using the bold alphabet capitals or small letters or any kind of special character. You have to be extremely careful when you're giving the tally word password because there only it has been given that in case you forget, you will permanently lose access to your company data. So you beg, borrow, pray, but you cannot get the company details at all. So you have to be extremely serious. That's why I have told you to create a new company and to give a tally word password because in case if you remember it's well and fantastic. Otherwise, also it does no harm to your company. Got it? Because so far you have passed so many entries in the tally, so that is unaffected. Okay, so this is just a new company where we have not passed any entries. So in case if you remember or forget tally word password, there is no issue. But make sure if you are giving tally word password, please take all the steps to remember the same. Okay, so here I'm giving the tally word password. Yes. I've given the tally wall password. Once I get the tally wall password, I'll press enter. So I have to retap the password again. Retap your password. Yes. Accept. Yes. I hope all of you have given the tally wall password. Once you give, you can just accept the company creations. Yes. So can you see here? In case you have given in small letters, not in capital letters, and you now log into a company by giving in capital letters, just test it, Tally will not take up. Now I had given in small alphabets and numbers. Now I will try to use the caps lock and I will try to give it in capitals. What happens? Tally is not allowing to open the company which has been created by me. So even though I give the same password in capitals, Tally is not accepting. Can you see here? That's why I've told you that the tally wall password is case sensitive. So you have to be extremely careful on your password. Okay. So now whatever password I have given, can you see here? My company gets opened. And this is how the tally wall password is being created for the company which has been created by. Okay. Now let's go and shut Meghraj group of companies in my screen or your companies. Now to shut down the company, the function key which was told is Control and F2. Control plus F2. Now before shutting the company, you can make out here that against the name of the company, a company number is being given. Yes. Now against the company which you have created earlier, against the company name, there will be a company number. Okay. So that number also you can keep a check of it. Now I will close Meghraj group of companies. Now if you can observe in the list of companies, the name of your company will not exist. It will be like stars, 10, probably 10 stars or something. It will be like stars, but the company number will be very much evident. Yes, so that's why I've told you have to keep an eye also on the company number. In case if I forget the number also, again there is a tough situation to retrieve my company data. So you have to be very careful. You have to observe the company number which is being generated against the company which has been created by you. So once you press enter on the same, can you see here? It will ask you tally wall password. So what I will do is I will give the tally wall password what has been generated by me. Yes, my company is okay. So like this, we can set up the tally wall password to the security level of our company data so that the data doesn't leak, okay, and there is no risk of any information sharing. So all data has to be kept confidential. We can create a tally vault password. Now suppose if I want to change the password, can I do so? Probably one of your colleagues or one of your friends would have accidentally known the password for the company which has been created for you. Now you are at a risk. You want to change the password immediately. Can it happen in the Tally software? Let's find out. What we'll do is we will press Alt K. Alt K is the company tab. Now here you have Tally Vault under configure after feature security. You have Tally Vault. Press enter on Tally Vault. Yes. So again there's a caution message. If you forget your Tally Vault password, you will permanently lose access to your company data. So company name is existing. Okay, so I will give the old password now. Okay, can you see? Only after giving the old password, Tally will permit me to give the new password. Now suppose here only if I give wrong, okay, and here if I try to give the new password, can you see here? The old password you have entered is incorrect. Specify the correct old password. So even though you have to change the password, you have to make sure that you give the old password correctly. How we see in the banks, right? In the same way, when we have to change the PIN, of our debit card, all these things happen. Yes, we have to give the old password first, and in case if you want to change the PIN, or probably the password in case you're going for the net banking. The same thing happens. Yes, we have to confirm the old password and then, of course, there are certain cases where ultimately you can create a new password, but most of them, especially when we are giving the pins, so that time we have to give the old pin or the old password, and then it will allow us to give the new password. Yes. So I'll press escape key and I will give the old password which has been given by me. Now I can give the new password which I have to create for the company. Can you see here? Once I give the old password correctly and the new password which I want it to be changed, this will close all the open reports, vouchers, and masters without saving changes you might have made. Are you sure you want to alter the tally word password? So if I give it as yes, can you see? It again asks the question, do you want to create a copy of Meghraj group of companies? Yes. Yes. So my company number is 10006. This number again I have to remember. My old company number was 10004 and the new company number is 10006. Now here I have to enter the password. Can you see? Now if I enter the new password, I can open the company. So again, if I try to enter, log into the company with old password, it will not take. Got it? So this is how we can create a password, tally wall password for our company which has been created by us. In case we wish to change the password, we can also do that provided we give the old password correctly at the time of changing the password or giving the new password. I hope it is clear and I hope you have done simultaneously along with me uh, for the security level of the data. Okay, so this is how we create tally wall password for our company. Okay, next. Once the tally wall password is being done, so here, now here I would like to show you one important concept with regard to the ledgers. Okay, so now we have completed the main part of the vouchers. We are starting from the contra vouchers until the bank payment voucher we have done. Now, when we are when we are creating all these vouchers, ledgers play a very important role. Yes, without the ledger creations, vouchers can't be passed. Yes, all of us are aware about that fact. Now, let me create four ledgers in Tally. In this new company only, let me create four ledgers. Now, before creating four ledgers, which are already the existing ledgers, the Tally software, if you go to the altar and select ledger, you have cash and P&L. So this has to be remembered, which is the default ledgers existing in Tally software, cash account and profit and loss account. In addition to the already existing ledgers, let me create four ledgers. Any ledgers you can create. Now I'm creating plant and machinery account. Under fixed assets. Okay. Second is probably land and building. Next, salaries. Next would be discount on. So once we create the four ledgers, we'll press the escape key and we'll come back to the gateway of tally screen. Now the point comes that I have to alter the ledgers. Now I can alter the ledgers one by one. Yes, I can go to the alter option. I can select the ledger and whichever ledger I want to alter one by one, which you have learned all this time, which has been taught to you. Now, when it comes to the deletion of ledgers, what do? We go to the alter option, we go to the ledger, and whichever ledger we want it to be deleted, we press alter. And this will be done one by one. Yes, but now here what happens is if I have to delete, I have to compulsory delete one by one. At a stretch, I can't delete n number of ledgers. But in case if I have to alter ledgers, let's say I have to alter a few fields, like I have to change the name, change the opening balance, like that. Some minimal changes have to be made. In addition to the alter option, I can also use multi-ledger screen. So we go for the chart of accounts here. In chart of accounts, we select ledgers. And over here, if you observe, on the vertical button bar, we have Alt H, that is multi-masters. So we'll press Alt H, multi-masters. In that, you have multi-create, multi-alter, and we have favorites. So there is multi-alter, and you can select all items here. If you select all items, whichever ledger you have created so far individually, the ledgers will appear here. Okay? So, in case you want to add the opening balance or change the group or change the name of the ledger, you're free to do it. Okay? Or I don't want to alter all the ledgers, probably which belong to the fixed assets group only I want to alter means what you can do is you can press the backspace and you can come to under group. Now here press the space bar and you can select the group of fixed assets. So we've got under group of fixed assets and here now if you are here if you observe here by default get as fixed assets. So what you have to do is you can take up like this itself where under the group you have fixed assets and you have the land and building and the plant and machinery existing. So here you want to add any opening balance, you can add. Now example I'm giving as 3 lakh and for plant and machinery I'm giving as 8 lakh. Alright. Like this, we can alter the ledgers more than one, which are here. But the point is, when it comes to the deletion part, we can't use this multi-alteration menu. Because in case if we test it, let's go back to the multi-alteration screen and I'll go to the all items and I'll press Alt D. You see, it is not taking this option Alt D. Even though I try to press Alt D, no, I cannot delete it, which means when it comes to the alteration, I can go for the single mode as well as the multi-alteration mode. But when it comes to the deletion of the ledgers, I can only delete the ledgers one by one. Okay, so I can go to the gateway of tally alt, select the ledger. Let's say I should select delete discount allowed. Go and select the ledger discount allowed, and then I can press Alt D and I can delete the ledger. So like this, these are certain features which will give us a lot of learning, especially when we are creating more than one ledger, or when we need to alter more than one ledger, or we have to update the opening balances. It can be anything. That time also we can use the multi-ledger alterations. One thing has to be remembered that when it comes to the deletion, we cannot go for the multi-ledger or screen. Rather, we have to go for the single ledger alteration screen. Okay. Now, After creating the tally wall password and after going for the ledger alterations, single and multiple, okay, we can shut the current company by pressing Ctrl F3. We don't require this company anymore. So if you can observe here, when you go to the list of companies, again you have two companies here, but the name of the company is not existing. Alright. Now let's go back to the company which has been created by us for this program. Now for the already existing company, if I have to create a tally wall password because we've already created the company, all that stage we have passed. But in case as of now, at present, if I have to create a tally wall password for the company that has been already created by me, how do I go about it? But one thing you have to make sure that in case you're creating tally word password for the company which has been already created by you, using which you have passed all the entries, you must make sure that you don't forget your password. In case you forget your password, I'm sorry, you can't retrieve your company data back. You have to do it again from the beginning. So you have to be very, very careful in case you want to create the password for the company which has already been created. That's why I showed you the new company rather than the company which has already been created. So here we have to press Alt K if you go to the company tab. Now here, and you see we have Tally Vault. Yes. So here only you can give the password. If you wish uh, to give the password for the company that has been already created by you, you can give the password. Why? Because there is one more way where we have to go to the Alt K, alter option. We have the company alteration screen. But here, if you observe, if you come to the security feature here, and you see, it is given as to set or alter the tally vault password. Press Alt K, the company tab just now which we went, and then select tally vault. So it will not allow you to create the tally vault password. So here, even though in the configuration when we press F12, even though this feature use tally wall password to encrypt company is activated, I cannot give the password details at all. In case if I fail to give the tally wall password at the time of company creation. I hope this is clear for all of you. Now we have created n number of vouchers in Tally involving the GST implications that we have CGST, SGST, then we have IGST and all that. Now the time has come where we have to discuss about these GST reports, right? So how can we view the GST reports here? We have to go to the display more reports from the gateway of Tally screen and under statutory we have got GST reports. Press enter on GST reports. Yes, so here you have GSTR1, GSTR2 and GSTR we have 3B. And of course, we have the e-way bill, challan reconciliation, GST annual computation, then tab and all that. Now, first of all, what is GSTR1 meant for? Yes, GST1 is meant to record all the outward supplies, nothing but sales. Okay, so it can be intrastate, interstate, export, all these. Okay, so if you press enter on GSTR1, can you observe here? You get the details. Now here, what you have to do is you can press Alt F2. Now Alt F2 is used to change the current period. You can remove this month record, that's from 1st of April to 30th April, by pressing spacebar, enter, spacebar, enter. so that that complete date is not gone, because it will show you a specific month. For the entire period, you can leave it as of now. But in case you are doing for a licensed version of Tally, please make sure that you don't do this. Instead, you can give it as 1st of April 21 to 31st of March 20. Okay, but as of now, it will not appear since we are using the trial version. Okay, anyhow, it's okay. Either you can give the financial year or you can just remove the units. Now, most of the sales entries have passed. All the vouchers will appear total vouchers. But here, if you observe, yes, you have got the statistical analysis here. But this is not relevant now. First, let's discuss about this. Yes. Now, though we have passed n number of sales vouchers, yes, but still, one thing has to be made sure that since the date is not recorded as per the entry, and most important, we don't have a link to the GST portal in case if you're using a trial version. If we are using a licensed version of Prime software, and we have an intention to file the returns, okay, with the GST portal, we can link our Tally software with the GST portal. That is also there. Of course, the permission has to be taken and the link has to be generated. So otherwise, you don't find most of the entries appearing here. You just find a couple of entries, and one of them we have is the nil rated invoices. Press enter. Yes. So here for KK Farms, we had passed sales voucher, right? Where we had supplied agricultural services to KK Farms for 50,000 and no GST was charged because it was a zero rated supply. Yes, exempt supply. Now here, if you observe, KK Farms is generated, and here we have the voucher number, the taxable amount, and the invoice amount as the same because no tax amount is being generated. So here, if you observe, you have the categories: the interstate supplies to registered person, intrastate supplies to registered person, then again interstate supplies to unregistered person, intrastate supplies to unregistered person. So you have different categories. So whatever entries are being made for both intrastate and the interstate, whether to a registered or unregistered person, all would appear here unenumerated, exempt from non-GST. Suppose if you go for the other fields also like B2B invoices, they may also appear. But as I told, because of the dates and because of the version that we are using as of now, they may not appear. But most important, one thing you have to know here that the GSTR one is used to make a record of all the outward supplies. That's nothing but sales under GST. This has to be kept in mind. That is why this return is being filed GSTR1 to uh, which records all the outward supplies made by the registered person or registered dealer under GST. Okay. So in case if we are linked to the portal, if you can observe on the vertical button bar you have open GST portal. So if you press Alt V, can you see? It will take me to the GST web page. If I have the net connectivity, it will take me to the GST web page. So in case if I am a registered person under GST, I will have my user ID and my password where I can log in. Okay, with my user ID and password. If I'm a registered trader, registered dealer under GST, so I can directly link my Tally software with the GST portal and where I can file all my returns. So don't you think it is wonderful where we can see these links? Yes. So we can directly open the GST portal through the returns itself. And we also have Alt J here, that is stat adjustments. In case we want to record any tax fluctuations or increase or decrease in the input tax credit or tax liability, we can use the same. Right? So we can press the escape key. Yes. Yeah. Now here if we have like yes, so here we have the F5 where we go for the viewing part of the returns. It will clearly show you that for the local sales, exempted sales, we have 50,000 recorded. Okay. So like this we can view each of the returns. Now GSTR2 we have to record all the details of the inward supplies under GST. So GSTR1 is for outward supplies, GSTR2 is for the inward supplies, and GSTR3B is a monthly return which comprises or which carries the information of both the inward and the outward supplies under GST. So this has to be kept in mind. Okay, so for what purpose which return is used? Okay, so here we have the GSTR2. You can observe there are two pictures which is being depicted here. We have business to business one invoice. So if you press enter here, yes, can you see? Whatever the tax implications, whenever we have recorded a purchase voucher, where we have calculated the GST component, everything will appear here. Yes, we had made a purchase from Swati Enterprises, probably I think stationery. So if you press enter on Swati Enterprises, can you see here how the data is being given wonderfully, right? So what kind of a transaction? It is a business to business transaction. What is the invoice number, the invoice date, and what is the total invoice value, which means what is the invoice value, taxable value, assessable value, inclusive of the tax, and place of supply is being given. Then we have the total tax amount, taxable amount. Then we also have the breakup of the central tax and the state tax, and the input tax credit available. So if you just use your navigation keys and move towards the right, yes, you can have a complete detail. Okay. So like this, it gives a breakup of each of the purchases which is being made. Okay. Now in case if we press Alt V, that is the contact details, okay, we can easily have the mailing name as Swati Enterprises. In case address we would have given, the same will appear here. Okay, country, and if any notes are being given, like that. So here if you can observe, in the vertical button bar we have Alt V, that is contact details. So you press here, you get the Swati Enterprises details. I press the S and I go to the Vincent Electronics. Yes, so here if we can make out again the now here instead of CGST and IGST you have, instead of CGST and SGST you have your IGST. Why? Because it was an interstate trade if you observe for Vincent Electronics. I think it was in Pune. So since it was interstate we had IGST, so the complete IGST tax amount will be reflected here. Yes, so if you want to know much more detail, like where Vincent Electronics is situated, address details. So again, if you press Alt V, the contact details, you can view the party details immediately or instantly, we can say. Yes, he belongs to the state of Maharashtra, and from Karnataka to Maharashtra, the transaction has taken place. Henceforth, it is interstate inward supply. It is not intrastate. Like that. Now we have Shipra Telecom, Sahana Enterprises, BC Traders. Okay, so again, if we go for the contract details, we have this denoted. Okay. Now, in case if you want to save the view, the ledger, okay, the GSTR to the inward supplies, we can go for it. We can also save this entry by going to control and we have save view. Okay, like this, we can examine each of the entries that are being passed. Yeah, we have also passed for Shriram traders. Yes, and so here we have the complete detail of Shriram traders. So we press the escape key. Yes. Now here at the bottom, this is very, very important for us. There is a minus sign here, a subtraction sign here. Press enter. Yes. If you all remember, we had passed a debit note for Sharma traders. I think there was a purchase of washing machines, and because of some damages, we had made a return. Yes. So if you press enter on the note, we'll also get the voucher details. Yes. So if you can observe here, the tax portion is shown as a deduction over here. As I told you that whenever we are passing a purchase voucher, tax will be added to the cost of purchase. Yes, but whenever a debit note is being raised on account of purchase returns, there is a subtraction, there is a deduction of the GST uh, tax. It can be CGST, SGST, or in IGST or including UTGST, so or any cess. So this is how the representation is made when we have used a debit note to record the purchase returns. Yes, that is why it is showing a reduction sign here. We have the tax paid, then we have a deduction, and as well as the input tax credit. So like this, we have got the complete details here. Next, we have GSTR 3B. The acetone 3B is a monthly return where it comprises of both the inward and the outward supplies under the GST. So I'll just give it by a small note, whatever the returns are being existing in the Tally software, so that you can have a clarity of the details of each of the returns. Now we have GSTR1 records outward supplies. Second, GSTR2 records inward. GSTR 3B comprises both comprises details of both the inward and outward supplies and the GST. So this is how we go for the transfer. So here we have GSTR1 records all the outward supplies, GSTR2 the inward supplies, and GSTR3B. Yes, so here if you press enter on GSTR3B, yes, can you observe here? We have the outward and the inward both are there. But if we go for the outward taxable supplies, yes. So you have all the sales depiction here. Whatever sales we have passed so far, sales entry we have made, all will appear here. Right? So starting from the ICICI Bank customer, then Kishore, Ketan, Vishwas, Archana Traders, Kelvin Electronics, Oro Enterprises, Robin Electronics, Tara Traders, NRT Traders, Zenith, Kalyan Traders, Tara Traders. We have in all the sales entry which is being appearing. And if you observe at the top, what is being given in the brackets? Other than zero rated, nil rated, and exempted, which means whatever taxable sales have been made, have been recorded, only those will find a place here, including the credit note details. So here, if you observe for Tara Traders, there was a credit note passed, right? So that's the tax reduction over there. And you see here, there is a tax reduction for the same. Yes, for them computers to have faster credit notes. And other outward supplies, of course, KK Farms is I don't know, other than Mingrated. Now here, if you go, we are eligible for input tax credit. Again, we have all the details here of the entries. So, how much input tax credit is available? That's the CGST and the SGST, including the IGST. So, at the bottom, if you observe, right, we have the total tax amount, and in that we have the CGST, SGST, and the IGST component. And the grand total is that 20 lakh, 21 lakh, and we have 335. Okay, so this is how we get the complete detail with regard to the GST, which is extremely important, where it comprises of all the units. So just scroll up, scroll down, and you can get, in case if you have made some unadjusted purchase, or in case if you record any import of services, so such cases also we can find the place here. Or in case if any interest or late fee is payable, that is also recorded. Yes. So this is how we find the place for all the entries. Okay. So GSTR1 is to record all the outward supplies. GSTR2 is for the inward supplies, and GSTR3 is a monthly return comprising both the inward and the outward supplies, including the eligible input tax credit which can be availed by a registered person to pay off his tax liabilities. Okay. Next, I've already discussed about the e-way bill, but here, of course, because e-way bill would not appear since we have not gone for the, we have not linked our tally software to the GST portal. And in case if we have generated the e-way bill, probably all e-way bills will appear here. Yes, in this format, we have the date, particulars, the GST in of the trader, the voucher type number, invoice amount, and the status, whether it has been generated or issued, an e-way bill number, and the date of the issue of e-way bill. So same replica and also shown you in the in the Google Drive. Let me go back to that e-way bill. Yes. So here we have the small format, right? Where we have the e-way bill number, e-way bill date, and at what time the e-way bill is issued. They're most important. Okay? And it will have a time limit generated by the name of the company which generates e-way bill, and it is valid until what time? If you can observe here, 1st of October, 31st of October here. Okay? 3000 kilometers is total distance traveled. Then GST in the part A, we have the GST details of the supplier, the place of dispatch, from where the goods are being dispatched, and we have the recipient's GST details in case if the receiver of the stock is also a registered person under GST. So from Bangalore, it is going to Mangalore. You can observe place of dispatch Bangalore, place of delivery to Mangalore. The document number, document date, value of the goods, the HSN code of the goods. Then we have reasons for transportation. It's an outward supply and the transporter's details. So by road from Bangalore it is moving to Mangalore, and what is the enter date time of the e-book. All this thing have to be put up where here. Can you see the same details? Sorry. So we have date particulars, GST number, voucher type, voucher number, and the invoice amount, e-way bill status, e-way bill number, and the e-way bill date. So whatever is appearing in the bill, so the same has to be presented in the screen in the Tally software also. Okay. Now, in case if I have to manually update, I can do it. If I press Alt H and Alt Q, yes, if I go for Alt Q first, I can manually update the e-way bill details. In case if I go to Alt H also, I can go for an updation. Okay, e-way bill also can be cancelled. Next is if I have to go to the challan reconciliation, yes. Now, challan reconciliation or tax would be paid, right? The returns are being filed and all the GST liabilities would be paid off. Now, we have the tax challans, right? Through which the tax payments are being made. Now, the same challan can be reconciled with the bank details, that's a bank check, or the mode by which would have generated the payment for GST, we can go for the reconciliation. How we go for a bank reconciliation? In the same way, with regard to the payment of GST, okay, on the basis of the GST challan, we can also go for the GST challan reconciliation, where we have the details being generated. Okay. So challan reconciliation is also possible. And we have the GST annual computation. Yes, this is extremely important for us to know that if we go for the GST annual computation, Here you have the IGST, CGST, and we have the SGST. Right? So here we have the total amount of the input tax credit, then liability. Now, how do we find out what is the total amount of tax payable? It is nothing but output tax liability minus input tax credit. So what you can observe here is we have the outward liability and we have the input tax credit. So the net amount of tax to be payable is what is being existing here. So total liability is how much? 16 lakh 76,344.58 paise put together. IGST, CGST and SGST. Okay, we have the total taxable amount. Okay, the total GST liability falls up here. Okay, this is the taxable value, or we can say the assessable value. Now, here we have the details of the input tax credit available after reversal and after calculating the eligible input tax credit. So, here if you observe, the total tax liability is 2,92,541 and the input tax credit is 3,75,640.20 which means we have excess of input tax credit. Even though we pay off this tax liability, okay, we still have the balance of our input tax credit, which can be set off for the successive financial years or for the successive tax period where we can use this excess input tax credit to pay off our GST liabilities. Okay, so this is how we generate the uh, tax liability under GST, where it is output tax liability nothing but tax payable minus input tax credit available. Like this, we get the complete total tax payable. Got it? So like this, we calculate the tax liability of the dealer. Okay, so this is output tax liability, minus input tax credit, that's tax credit available. We, in case if there is excess of tax liability, then obviously more than input tax credit, then the remaining liability has to be paid. Even after utilizing the input tax credit, still there is an excess of tax liability which has to be paid off. Okay, it cannot be told that fine input tax credit is exhausted, so tax liability cannot be paid. That cannot be done. So, whatever the balance or the left out tax liability is there, it has to be paid by utilizing the bank amount or the bank details. Okay, which needs to be attached by the registered person with the GST code. Okay. So like this, we can have a complete detail if you observe. How many total voters have been passed, how many are included in the report, how much not relevant to the report, uncertain transactions. So if you just press on this as enter, yes, so here we get a complete detail. Yes, yes. Again here, yes, we get a complete breakup. Yes. And next we have this GST rate setup. In case we are setting up the GST rate, okay, specifically, that will find a place here, okay. So here we have given more than one rate. We have not given a single tax rate. In case if you have given, probably it will appear here. And we have a UQC code in case if you want to give update unit quantity code for the stock items, it can be updated here. In case if for any of the parties the GST details have to be updated, let's say for the salary creditors, let's say for VC traders, it has to be updated. We can give up the details. So with state, country, registration type, his GST number, all details, his details can be, updated here. So this is very important, which I've discussed today regarding the reports, because we already covered the GSTR1, GSTR2, and we also have covered GSTR3B based vouchers. Yes, we have covered the sales. We have covered intrastate, interstate. Yes, even for purchases we have made intrastate, interstate purchases. Okay, so and this is the right time where we can discuss the GST reports so that you can have a better understanding that whatever entries you have passed so far and whatever tax calculations are being made by us, everything will be updated, everything will be present in the GSTR reports which are related to it. Okay? Yes. So this is how we go for the GST reports. Now after this, we can discuss the other reports which are appearing in the Tally software. Okay, first of all, we can go for the trial balance. Yes. Now, trial balance, all of us know that it gives the what kind of balances, the debit balances and the credit balances of all the ledgers, of all the accounts that has been created, generated so far. Okay. So, if you want our trial balance much in detail, or if you want any balance sheet, profit and loss account, or any ledger, any report, any daybook in detail, what is the functional key? What is the shortcut key which has to be used? It is Alt F1. Yes. So once we press Alt F1, we get a detailed report of any financial statement, of any registers, of any book. So Alt F1 I can say is also one of the special keys in Tab. So I have got a complete view of my trial balance. Can you see here? Yes. Now if you just use the navigation keys and move down, yes, at the bottom you have differences in opening balances. Okay, so here we have differences in balances as 5,95. Of course, since no opening balance was involved, we are passing the entries. We had passed the entries by giving the existing balance, and most there appears difference in opening balances. But one thing we have this difference in opening balance statement only in two reports. One is in trial balance, and the other one we'll also see the same in the balance sheet. Apart from these two financial statements or reports, we don't find this difference in opening balance in any of the statements. Okay, so this is how we can view the trial balance in detail. Next, I think daybook I've already shown you how it appears. In case you're not able to view all the entries in the daybook, there's only one entry being displayed. Where did the rest go? We can get it. How? What is the function key for the financial period? We have Alt F2. Yes. So if you press Alt F2, it is showing the date or the period from 2nd of April to 2nd of April only. What we have to do is we have to remove these dates. What we have to do is space bar, press enter, again press space, press enter. So it has to be space bar enter, space bar enter. Once we remove the dates, we'll get the complete list of all the vouchers which has been passed so far. Yes. Now here in the daybook only, you want a breakup of all these entries. What key I have suggested to you? It is Alt F1. So if we press Alt F1, we get the complete breakup of the daybook as well. Now in case, suppose, let's say from the itself, I want to delete one of the vouchers. Can I do so? Now alteration I've taught you. How to do the alteration if I press enter on any voucher. If you observe on the left hand side, we get the accounting voucher alteration screen. Yeah. So we can make any adjustments, alterations. But in case if I want to delete the voucher, can I delete it from? Yes. How? By pressing Alt D. The voucher is already selected. So if you press Alt D, you can also delete the vouchers. Okay. There is one more way of cancelling the vouchers. I don't want this voucher to be appearing. I want to just cancel the voucher. So what I can do is I can press Alt X. If I press Alt X, I can also go for the cancellation of vouchers. If I give it as yes, can you see the voucher gets cancelled? Yes. So this is how it appears. And once I cancel, it is done. Can you see there are no entries appearing? You have to be very careful before going for the cancellation. There is no kind of reviving back or bringing back to life again that particular voucher. Once it is cancelled, it is done. Okay. So like these, we can cancel the vouchers, delete the vouchers, alter the vouchers in the day. And if we have to go for the filtration of the vouchers, that also has been taught to you. That is, if you observe in the vertical button bar, we have F4. F4 is the voucher type. Okay, so I don't want to view all the vouchers. I only want to view the payment vouchers. Okay, so I can just filter out the vouchers by pressing F4. Which voucher I want to view, that voucher I can select. So if I go to view all payment vouchers, can you see? Including the bank payment voucher, all my payment vouchers will be presented here. So here I have to press Alt F1 and get a breakup much in detail. Yes, so this is the best way where we can filter out the vouchers. If the additional features to appear, if you want even the narrations to appear or whatever, you can press F12 configuration. So F12 configuration is the feature updation, okay, for any ledger, for any daybook, for any masters, okay, what you're going to create in the Tally software. F12 configuration will be there for almost everything. So in case if you want to have any updation of any features, you can do so. See which I'm doing it here. Okay, can you observe? Yes. So this is how I've got the narration, I've got the complete bank detail. Yes, I've got a complete breakup here. So this statement I can easily present it for any accounting purposes, which is very, very important. So configuration in a way will give you all kinds of features updation or features to be added with a particular book or this voucher or any kind. Yes. So like this, you can go for it. Next we have this cash flow. Of course, cash flow and fund flow statement, all of you would be aware, where it records all the inflows and the outflows of cash. Yes. So if I press enter, I can arrive at the cash flow summary, where I have the inflows and the outflows of cash. Cash inflows, of course, receipt of cash, and outflows where the purchases or payments are involved. So again here if you press Alt F1, we get a complete breakup of the cash flow summary. Yes, so this is how we can go for it. Now here if I find out my net inflow is more than my net outflow. Yes, so I've got gross net inflow. If you can observe at the bottom, I've got a gross net inflow of 30 lakh 20,250 rupees and 40 paise. Yes, so my inflows are more than the outflows, so it's a better financial position I'm having. Right? So this is how also we can use. We also have the fund flow statement, have the receivables and the payables. So here also, if you can press Alt F1 to get a much in detail fund flow statement. Can you see at the bottom? You have also have the working capital, calculation here, where we have the opening balance, current assets minus current liabilities. What is it? It is the net working capital. Yes. So what is the formula of working capital? Current assets minus current liabilities. The same has been depicted here also. Yes, current we deduct the current assets. I mean we have here with the current liabilities, and we have the working capital information, the working capital statement here. Next, if you go for the accounts books, already you would have viewed the cash or bank book. I think a number of times I would have shown you where we can get the cash and the bank balances instantly. Also, we have the ledger wise. In case if ledger wise we want any detail, let's say I go to the HDFC bank. Can you see in relation to the HDFC bank what all entries have been passed so far? Everything will appear in this ledger wise report. Yes, you can select any party, select any bank ledger or whichever ledger that has been created by the user. It can be selected over here. Okay, so we can also go for the ledger wise report. Next we also have the group summary. Group wise, if I want to view, now I'll go to the bank accounts group. Yes, if you can observe here, I can get the details of all my bank ledgers. Suppose if I select the fixed assets group, can you see? I can get the details of all the fixed assets. So at this group wise, we can also view. Next, we have the group vouchers. In relation or involving bank account, in case any vouchers have been passed, okay, all bank-based vouchers, bank-related vouchers will appear here. Got it? So, and bottom you can have the opening balance, the current total, and the closing balance. So the complete information you get group wise. Now, of course, in the daybook we filter the vouchers where we press F4, F5, F6, F7, or we can also go for the F4 voucher type where we get the contra payment receipt below. Now, in addition to that, we also have separate registers for each of the vouchers which have been passed. We have contra register, payment register, receipt, sales, purchase, journal, debit note, and credit note. So, as a mini daybook, daybook is a general daybook, okay, where whatever vouchers you would have passed for your company, in your company, all vouchers will appear there, including the non-accounting vouchers. Yes, all of us have visualized that. Yes, so whatever vouchers are being passed, everything will appear in the daybook. So it's a mix of all. Specifically, if I have to view only contra vouchers, only payment vouchers, I can do so either by filtering it out in the daybook as F4 voucher type, or by coming to the registers. Under that we have the contra register. So if I press contra register, enter, yes, can you see one I had made a cancellation, that if one cancel voucher will come and the other seven vouchers are there. So if I press enter on the same, I can view all my contra vouchers. And again, if I want to view this in detail, I can press Alt F1. So like this, we can also view the vouchers on registers. See here. we have 18 payment inflows. So like that, we have received sales, purchase, journal, debit note. Debit note, we have passed one for Chama traders. It will appear. So if you keep on pressing enter, it will bring you up even to the voucher level. We have the voucher clarification. In case if clarification is different, we can put up here where it goes for the verification of voucher. Okay, so this is how we get the discussion of the accounts books. So far we have discussed the trial balance, the day book, cash and fund flow statement, the accounts books, and next we will go for the statement of accounts. Now, statement of accounts, as I've already shown, that we have outstanding, we have cost centers, and we have statistics. Outstandings is, yeah, how much is to be paid or how much is yet to be received. Bills receivable and bills payable all will be depicted in this. We have seen a number of times the receivables and payables report when we are going for the bill settlement option, right? The same is being given here also. So we have receivables now from KK Farms and NRT traders have to receive the payment. If I go to payables, I have four payments to be made for Sahana, Shama, Shriram Traders, and Vincent Electronics. Yes. And as per the ledger wise, also we can view. If I have to be only for Amar Enterprises, I can view the statement. Like this, party wise, including the group wise. So who are all the suppliers to whom the payment has to be made? I can select the group of sundry creditors and I can go for the view of the payment list of payments to be made. Okay, so next we go for the cost centers where we have the cost center breakup. Right, we have the category summary, the cost center breakup, ledger wise as group wise breakup. So that can also be viewed here where we have the category summary, where we have the advertisement. We had created three cost categories, right? Advertisement, Bangalore, and bills. And advertisement, we had banners, hoardings, pamphlets, and news. And the Bangalore, we had Jayanagar and JP Nagar, and bills, we had current whatever total. So, what is the amount allocation which was made by us? Everything will appear here. So, easily we can get the cost and yes. And ledger wise also we can get. If you press on advertisements, we can get that. And group breakup we have. Yes. As a group, if you go to indirect expenses, yes, we have the advertisement, we have Bangalore and profits. So easily we can view. So one thing you have to make here, one thing you have to come to know that whatever entries are being passed by creating certain accounting masters, in relation to that we can view the required reports. So as of now, I have discussed the statement of accounts in this session. In the next session, I will continue with the inventory based reports and then we can learn a couple of new concepts in the next session. In case you have any doubts, let me know or we can wind up the current session, the session for the day. So please make sure whatever you have practiced so far, please repeat it again. So I hope it's everything clear until now. As I always keep telling, please keep your practice consistent to learn the Tally software in a best way, rather. So in the next session again, we will discuss further whatever reports are to be done, inventory and again the GST based in case of addition are there. So until then, please make a good practice. So we'll meet up in the next session.